Hey everyone, welcome to our next adventure. This segment of my road trip on the Oregon Trail is making me reflect on how much has changed since the pioneers traveled west. What took them months in a covered wagon takes me days in my RV. Their constant pressing concern was basic survival, finding water, food, and avoiding accidents. My journey holds the same concerns, but without the same urgency. Well, unless it's a gas station I'm desperately seeking when the fuel light comes on. Despite these differences, as I drive along Interstate 80, I'm realizing our journeys share more than I thought. This modern route was built along the pathway of the Great Platte River Road. It not only follows the same route through Nebraska as the first transcontinental railroad, but also roughly traces the Oregon Trail through Nebraska and Wyoming. I'm passing through towns that were originally established to serve the pioneers. Because of this, I'm feeling a connection to a timeless story of curiosity, courage, and the relentless pursuit of what lies beyond the next bend in the road. So join me as we explore the footprints of the past and the thrill of discovery we share with those original road warriors on the Oregon Trail. Tracing the footsteps and wagon ruts of those incredible early pioneer travelers, we pause in the heart of Nebraska, where the history of that monumental journey is incredibly strong. We'll be exploring Fort Kearny, the legendary Gothenburg Pony Express station, and the Archway, a monument that literally bridges the past and the present. This is more than just a road trip for me. It's an exploration of a shared human story across time. Join me as we uncover how the pioneer spirit of exploration and resilience has evolved. Our first stop is Fort Kearny State Historical Park. Now, imagine this. After weeks, maybe even months, of relentless travel across what felt like an endless sea of grass, you finally spot this. Fort Kearny wasn't just a military fort. It was the ultimate pioneer rest stop, a place for supplies, repairs, mail, and critically, protection. For thousands of weary immigrants, seeing this outpost rise from the plains must have been like seeing an oasis. This was their version of a modern-day truck stop or RV park, a place to regroup before tackling the next grueling leg of their journey. I mean, my biggest concern getting here was finding the right exit and maybe a good cell signal. Their concerns? Sickness, starvation, broken wagons, and hostile encounters. The contrast is just staggering. This blacksmith building at Fort Kearny is a significant historical site that showcases the vital role of blacksmithing in the 19th century, particularly for travelers on the Oregon Trail. This reconstructed building, originally established in the mid-1800s, served both soldiers stationed at the fort and immigrants passing through on their journey westward. The blacksmith shop held a lot of original handwritten documents. Some of them were records of repairs, inventory lists, work orders, and even explanations of the construction of the second Fort Kearny. This was a Mormon handcart. You can smell the gunpowder in here. All these old wagons. Harnesses. Wow, look at all that leather. How did they know how to put those on? The reason I smelled gunpowder is because Fort Kearny does reenactments that include the firing of the cannons. Those events are part of their living history demonstrations, and I believe they occur the 4th of July weekend, Memorial Day, and Labor Day. Ancestor's trunk. It's got that same dome top. After I exited the blacksmith shop museum area, I stepped outside and it started to rain, so I headed back to the visitor center to check out that museum exhibit. This is an image of Lieutenant Daniel Woodbury. He was ordered in 1847 to, quote, establish a military post near the Grand Island where the road to California encounters the Platte River, unquote. So with 5 officers and 78 men, he journeyed almost 200 miles from Old Fort Kearny, located on the Missouri River at present-day Nebraska City. He surveyed the site and then later returned in 1848 and began construction on sod shelters. I read in the museum that the fort was in a constant state of disrepair due to lack of funds, and the soldiers preferred tents even though they were not good against the cold. For a time, the fort was the western terminus of the telegraph. Here, the Pony Express picked up and delivered important telegraph dispatches. One of my favorite exhibits in the museum was about the Pawnee Scouts. This is a photo of Pawnee Eagle Chief Lata Kutzlashar, and sorry if I butchered that. He's holding eagle feathers and wearing a U.S. cavalry uniform. The Pawnee people were an agricultural tribe living in Nebraska, but by the mid-19th century, they were being overpowered by their traditional enemies, the Sioux and the Cheyenne. The Pawnee were weakened by devastating epidemics and constant raids. When the U.S. Army came to the Pawnee in 1864, the Pawnee saw an opportunity. The Army needed skilled trackers to fight the very tribes that were attacking the Pawnee. For the Pawnee, enlisting was not a simple act of submission to the U.S. government. Instead, it was a strategic alliance and a continuation of their own long-standing wars. Serving as scouts offered them pay, food, and most importantly, the chance to fight back against the tribes threatening their existence. Pawnee Scout's story is one of self-preservation, where they use their traditional warrior skills and cultural knowledge to ensure their own survival. Heading back outside to see the stockade, I wanted to give you a little history about Fort Kearny. It was established in 1848. This was actually the second Fort Kearny. The first was over in Nebraska City on the Missouri River. If you missed my visit there, I'll link that episode in the description box below. The fort actually operated until 1871, and as I said earlier, it served as a crucial outpost along the Oregon Trail. The blacksmith shop was one of the first buildings constructed at the fort. It was essential. And then the stockade here, it is in need of repair. The gentleman in the visitor center told me that they are getting ready to do that. But it was very interesting to climb up to the top, and the grounds are immense on this at this location. There was a groundskeeper mowing, and I couldn't get over how much he had to mow. After exploring the fort, it was time to find my own rest stop, and what better place than right in the shadow of our next destination, the Archway Monument in Kearny. This isn't just a museum, it's an architectural marvel that literally spans Interstate 80. And as I mentioned earlier, this interstate closely parallels the very path the Oregon Trail pioneers took. The main sculpture on top of the Archway Monument is a tribute to the Pony Express. It was designed by the Kent Bloomer Studio, and it perfectly encapsulates the spirit of movement and progress that the entire monument is dedicated to commemorating. What do you think? As a member of Harvest Hosts, I was able to stay in the Archway Monument's parking lot overnight, and this gave me plenty of time to browse the grounds and view the sculptures. Several of them were notable to me. One was called A Narrow Escape, and this depicted a true story from 1864 involving the Martin brothers who were caught in a violent storm on their way west. It highlights the very real dangers and hardships faced by those traveling the trail. Another group of life-size bronze figures called We Stayed, and this portrayed a family on a homestead. It served as a tribute to the people who decided to end their journey and settle in Nebraska, and it was very moving. historic bridge located across from the Archway is a 1914 Pratt Truss Bridge that was originally built to span the Elkhorn River in rural Pierce, Nebraska. It was dismantled and brought to this location, and it was a deliberate choice to connect the modern I-80 with the early history of the Great Platte River Road. The trails in Kearny are not just for exercise, they are a direct link to the region's history and natural beauty. The trail connecting the Archway to Fort Kearny literally follows the path of an old railroad, which itself traced the path of the original trails. For me, this provides a tangible way to experience the journey of the pioneers, but on a more modern scale. Unfortunately, the Archway Museum's upper floor was closed when I was there, but the little I did see was still incredible. It's a unique tribute to America's westward expansion, showing how the historic route of the pioneers evolved from a footpath to a modern interstate. My RV was my lodging for the night, a modern covered wagon with a bed, a kitchen, and climate control. My lullaby was the constant rumble of semis and cars thundering down I-80. It made me reflect on how different the nights must have been for the pioneers. For them, lodging was often just a blanket on the ground or a meager shelter under their covered wagon. Their nights were met with the solitude of the open plains, their only sounds the wind and the creaking of their wagons. My experience was the roar of 70-mile-an-hour traffic. Now, as I get back on the road, I'm excited to continue our journey and explore the history of the Gothenburg Pony Express station. On my way to Gothenburg, I made a quick stop at the Kearny westbound rest area on I-80 and found a hidden gem. I had no idea that there are 7 sculptures along the interstate in Nebraska, all dedicated on July 4th, 1976, to coincide with America's bicentennial. The one at this rest stop, called Nebraska Wind, was created by kinetic artist Charles M. McCoy and is known for its beautiful floating discs that move with the wind. It'll be getting a major facelift in 2026 in preparation for America's 250th Independence Day celebration. The plan is to place it back in the pond it originally floated in, so it can once again move gracefully with the water and the wind. I think it looks like a fish out of water on land. What do you think? Our final stop is another gem that perfectly illustrates the evolution of speed and communication, the Gothenburg Pony Express station. This isn't a replica, folks. This is a genuine, original Pony Express station, carefully preserved. For just 18 intense months, these stations were the nerve centers of America's first high-speed mail delivery system. It's hard to imagine when today I can pull out my phone and send a message across the globe in seconds. The Pony Express riders were heroes, risking life and limb for a letter, and my biggest communication challenge is finding Wi-Fi. Each rider would carry the mail pouch called a mochila along his leg of the route. In those pre-telephone, pre-telegraph days, news going to California via regular mail could take up to 6 months to arrive for a premium fee, about $85 per half ounce in today's money. the pony could deliver the letter in 10 to 16 days, depending on weather conditions. Despite their one-time celebrity, very few of the names of Pony Express riders are known today. Only 2 names still loom above the unsettled dust of pony history: James Butler, Wild Bill Hickok, and William Buffalo Bill Cody. Interestingly, historians doubt that Cody ever worked for the pony at all. Accurate or not, Buffalo Bill's Wild West performances captured the spirit of the pony and branded its legends deep into the nation's identity. The Pony Express was a private business venture launched in 1860 by partners William Russell, William Waddell, and Alexander Majors, who also ran a freighting operation out of Nebraska City. Hoping for a profitable federal mail delivery contract, the partners established a string of stations across the West, stocked them with fast, hardy horses, and hired around 80 skilled riders to relay the mail between stations. The operation quickly racked up expenses, while the hoped-for government contract never materialized. Completion of the transcontinental telegraph system on October 24, 1861, made the debt-ridden pony obsolete. Riders finished their last run on November 20, 1861. Hi. So I hope you've enjoyed this leg of the journey where we went from Fort Kearny to the Archway and then on to the Pony Express station in Gothenburg. Each of these stops had their own unique flavor, and the route still continues. There's a lot to be seen. Next episode we'll be going through the rest of Nebraska, and some of my favorite stops in Nebraska are coming up. Scotts Bluff, and of course the big milestone for the pioneers on the trail was, all I can think of is what the Native Americans called it at this point, but Chimney Rock, that's right. But we'll get into that next episode. Please, if you enjoy this content, give me a like. I'd love to hear your comments too. That's always fun to share stories, travel stories especially. And I look forward to seeing you next time. All right, happy trails.